Citizenship, the C in ACRE stands for citizenship. Basic, you must be a U.S. citizen or an eligible permanent resident to qualify for HOPE. Cut and dry. The R stands for residency. You must be a resident of the state of Georgia. Fortunately for us, the Georgia Student Finance Commission, we do not calculate that residency. That's calculated and determined by the post-secondary institution that you apply. So I'm thinking of a local school that's close by, Georgia Perimeter. So for example, if you apply to Georgia Perimeter and they determine that you're an in-state resident, we accept that for financial aid purposes, and you would be qualified for HOPE. If at Georgia Perimeter they determine that you were an out-of-state resident, you would not met the residency requirement, you would not be eligible for HOPE because you would not have met the residency. I will tell you the basic rule of thumb is you must have 12 consecutive months of Georgia residency prior to applying, or prior to enrolling in the post-secondary school. So basically, let's say that, and I'm going to use the senior class here as the example. Let's say that next fall 2011, classes at Georgia Perimeter start August the 26th, 2011. You would have to be a Georgia resident at August the 26th, 2010. There has to be 12 consecutive months of Georgia residency prior to enrolling on August the 26th, 2011. Does that make sense? That's the rule of thumb, but they determine it. We don't have to. We use what they tell us. That's good for us because we don't collect income taxes. We don't collect anything that would give us that residency information. Last but not least, the E in ACRE stands for enroll in a HOPE eligible school in Georgia. I think this is very important because if you meet all the other requirements in ACRE, you still must go to a HOPE eligible school or you're not going to get the money. So you must check on GA College to find out which schools are HOPE eligible. About 99.9% of the schools that you look at are going to be HOPE eligible, but there's still a few schools that are not HOPE eligible. For example, Troy University. They're a school based out of Alabama, but they do have campuses in Georgia. They're not HOPE eligible. So just make sure that the school you're looking at, it's always good just to be sure. Just make sure that your student's not looking at a school, because if you're intended to get HOPE, you want to make sure you're getting it. I have students all the time that ask me, they say, what's the big deal of HOPE? Why do my parents, why do my counselor, why do my teachers say you must be a HOPE scholar? If you look at the award amounts, it pays a pretty penny. At public schools in Georgia, it pays full tuition, 100% of the tuition. That's pretty good. It also pays what's called HOPE approved mandatory fees. What that means is back in 2004, the Georgia legislature froze what the mandatory fee payment is for the schools. So let's say at Kennesaw State University, if in 2004 they paid, HOPE paid $50 for student activity fees. HOPE would pay $50 for student activity fees in 2004. If they decided to increase their student activity fee to $75 in 2007, HOPE would still only pay $50 for student activity fees. Does that make sense? All all mandatory fees are paid at the 2004 level. So you notice right there that HOPE is not going to pay 100% of fees in Georgia. I just want that's a key point. Also, a book allowance. It's going to give you $100 per quarter or $150 per semester. My experience, $150 per semester. It might buy a book, more than likely, the spine of a book, just so you know. And you'll notice it didn't say anything up there about room and board. So I'm trying to give you the realistic expectation that HOPE doesn't give you a completely free education. It doesn't pay 100% of your education. You're going to have some you're going to have some mandatory fees that you're going to have to come up with. You're going to have some book money that you're going to have to come up with. And if your student's going to live on campus somewhere, you're going to have to pay for that. So HOPE is not a 100% free education. That's kind of the culture that we've lived in Georgia, that HOPE pays for everything. And I've seen so many students that graduate from high school and they get their bill from college and they're like, what's that? That's a total due. I thought HOPE paid this. No, HOPE doesn't pay everything. I just want you to understand that. That's public school. At a private school, there's a new award amount. They've actually increased it this year. HOPE pays $4,000 per academic year for full-time study. So, I had a student who was going to Young Harris and was like, it costs, $20,000 or so. $4,000, that's a drop in the bucket. Well, that's true, but $4,000 is $4,000. You take what you can get. Then you look, a private school also has the ability to give more institutional financial aid. You're going to get some monies if you apply. if you have the SAT scores, if you have the GPAs, you're going to get more money. You then apply for independent financial aid, independent scholarships, so on and so forth. Apply, apply, apply. You get as much as you can wherever you can. You still have a responsibility after you graduate from Northview to keep your GPA up. They're going to check your GPA and make sure you remain Hope eligible. Remember the term, or remember the GPA of 3.0. If you keep your GPA up above a 3.0, you have nothing to worry about. At the end of every spring semester, they're going to look to see that you have at least a 3.0. At the end of 30 attempted semester hours, they're going to look to see that you have at least a 3.0. At the end of every 60 attempted semester hours, they're going to look to see that you have at least a 3.0. What happens at the end of 90 attempted semester hours? I thought y'all would get that one. They're going to look to see that you have at least a 3.0. They're going to make sure that you keep your GPA up. If your GPA drops below a 3.0 at any of those checkpoints, you become hopeless. See, I knew I could catch y'all awake. I was seeing who was asleep. You'll notice at the bottom, students have a maximum of 127 attempted semester hours. At that point, they will have lost all hope. That was a joke too. A few people got that. But that's the maximum hope. Another point where the students maximize the Hope Scholarship is when they obtain a bachelor's degree. The Hope's only good for undergraduate coursework, regardless of how many attempted hours they have. Once they get a bachelor's degree, that's it for Hope. So just remember that. I just always like to point that out as well. There's a separate program. We've been talking about the Hope Scholarship for degree-seeking students, associate degree, bachelor's degree. For the Hope Grant, it's for certificate and diploma programs. It does not consider your Hope, your GPA. That's key. It does not consider your GPA. So if you're not Hope Scholarship eligible, you still are Hope Grant eligible. Pays the same thing. Tuition, Hope approved mandatory fees, give you the book allowance. Still pays the same thing. You can have it for 63 semester or 95 quarter hours. I will tell you that technical colleges are moving from quarters to semesters next year. So basically you can drop quarters and say it covers 63 semester hours. Two reasons I like to tell you about this. You may have some students that, they just really, they're work ready. They want to get a trade. They want to get in the job force. This is for them. They want to get just that trade, get right into the workforce. Whether it's computers, whether it's, a number of things, business, whatever, childcare, number of different things. Also, for that student that is not Hope eligible, many technical colleges have what's called there's a program, a certificate program called Technical Communications. This Technical Communications is a certificate program, so it's covered by the Hope Grant, so does not consider grade point average. Hope Grant covers it. It's core classes. You're taking the same classes a student at Gainesville State would be taking. You're taking the same classes. You're taking core classes that are transferable to a 2-year or a 4-year college. A great program, a great idea for a student that might not have had a great 9th grade, 10th grade, or 11th grade year. That